All right, we are starting to see a shift in the real estate market. Well, slightly. Hey, Lily with Living Room Realty here in Portland, Oregon, here to give you your monthly market update for the month of June. So, as I said there in the beginning, we are starting to see a slight shift in the real estate market. And why I say slight is we are nowhere near a balanced real estate market, but we are just anecdotally and now finally in the numbers starting to see a shift. Where we see that the most, and why I usually bring this number up in the beginning, is inventory of homes. Inventory of homes just went back up to 1 month, which we've been struggling to do for, I believe, about the last 7 months. So seeing that little shift up was crazy enough, an exciting moment to be like, okay, things are trending upwards. And while we aren't seeing, some giant correction in the market, we aren't seeing a bubble bursting like some headlines might be alluding to, or the fact that a upcoming recession might lead to a giant downturn in the market. We can talk a little bit more about those things later. We are seeing the market start to maybe head towards more balance or head to some sort of a correction. We're seeing it slightly in numbers now, but I can also talk about some of the more anecdotal stuff we talked a little bit about last month that we're seeing increasing more and more and showing that we could see that slight shift. So right off the bat, as I said, 1 month of inventory went up, and then also where we are seeing over time that slight shift and corrections in the market for buyers and having more opportunities. The biggest one right now, aside from inventory, is new homes to the market. So new homes is now at 3,853, which is a 4% increase from last month. So we are continuing to see more and more homes come to the market. And where I really want to put that into frame for you as well is to point out that in January of this year, new homes to the market was at 1,599 homes, so about 1,600 homes. And so when you see that large discrepancy, that we are starting to see more sellers listing their house, we don't have that same hesitancy that we had in the last few years. People are putting their homes on the market. They're seeing the benefit of doing so, and it's becoming more and more possible, which also means, we'll talk a little bit more about you home sellers in the future, but that means for you more competition. So also keep that in mind, that people are becoming less and less hesitant to sell their home. So the more active listings, the more competition in your neighborhood, which is something definitely to keep in mind if you're considering selling now or selling in the future. But if you are a home buyer, it's really good sign that you're seeing more homes to the market, which is going to give you more options, and maybe on your end, less competition from other buyers because they're spread out looking at those other houses, offering on those other homes, while you can focus on the one that you really love and hopefully get under contract on it. What we're seeing with that in the numbers, as I said, we also had that 4% increase. So it's really good to see that things are slightly going up and up. Anecdotally now for you as a buyer, what we're seeing in the market, I just talked about a few of these things last month, but newer options or newer things that we're seeing is feedback. So the last 2 years or so, as a realtor, I've been in the business over 5 years. The last 2 years, I have not had a realtor ask me very often for my feedback on a home, because simply the home would sell no matter the condition, price, style, marketing, anything of that nature. For the most part, except for a few caveats, that property was selling. So it was kind of honestly mind-blowing to me when over the last weekend or two, I had multiple realtors reach out to me, and not just on an automatic form like I've maybe seen in the past few years. Sometimes they would, personally text me or personally email me or call me, and I say, hey, what do you think about this property? Because, we listed it on Thursday. Now it's Monday or Tuesday when typically we start getting offers. Our market moves really quick. I, don't have any offers in hand. What do you think? Should we lower the price? Things of that nature, which truly I have not seen in a while. So while this isn't every home, we are seeing that for some properties. And I will say the, one property that really comes to mind that I had a longer conversation with a listing agent on, it wasn't a home with any problems. They could have maybe priced it a little bit more competitively, but it wasn't like an eyesore property. It was super cute. It just wasn't right for my buyers. So it was interesting to see that, it wasn't just going to automatically sell, where I'm sure even a few months ago that property would have just flew off the market. So those are just some of the things, we're seeing there for buyers, is just that lack of just rush. So I would say for people, in the past, maybe property gets listed on Thursday, we have to see it by Friday to even get in. That's not happening as much depending on the market you're in. It is a little bit more casual. We're also seeing, as you're out there in the market, a property that maybe would have gotten 7 to 10 offers before now is getting 2 to 3. So while you still might have some competition, if it was the house that I was talking about before, maybe not, but for a lot of properties, you're still gonna have some competition. It's gonna be 2 to 3 other offers, not 7 to 10, as I mentioned before. So it makes it a little bit more tangible, makes it feel less defeating, honestly, for a lot of buyers. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers that, it's just wild. The idea of competing against that many people is really too hard. So what you should know, it also, though I'm gonna give this other little caveat here, going on a bunch of different tangents, is still know, because there is that potential of multiple other offers, that while things are starting to shift slightly, you still shouldn't expect the seller to take on too much when it comes to things like repairs. So just gonna touch on this quickly, maybe I'll do a whole nother video of this, that, when you're buying a house, as things start to shift, I think some buyers start to think, well, maybe I can ask more of the seller. As of right now, while we are negotiating hard on your behalf, typically a seller isn't gonna take on much. Maybe it's become a little bit easier to get them to take care of larger health and safety concerns, but I still have buyers that, because of the offer situation of them being able to fall back on other offers, things of that nature, they're asking you to take on a sewer line, a roof, even larger projects like that. So that's something I wanna bring up right away and we can talk one-on-one about is, if you are someone who, doesn't have a large cash flow after you buy a house, we kind of want to talk about some options maybe to the side of that, newer build properties, condos, townhomes, things of that nature. But if you are wanting to buy that older Portland home, be prepared that you might take on some bigger repairs still. Just want to make that caveat because I know that can happen when the market starts to shift. People think maybe also the expectations of what you're taking on will start to shift, and we're not just there yet that much. Again, some cases we can possibly take that on. What does this mean for you if you're thinking of selling your house? So as I mentioned, houses aren't just automatically selling, even perfectly great homes. So what that means is you need to do as much as possible to prep your property. So where we might have said, it's up to you if you want to clean the gutters, get the moss off the roof. I always suggest that you do those things all the time, but you see it all the time in this market where people are a little lackadaisical when it comes to certain repairs, certain prep around the home. Always I'm like, at least just get that magic eraser and do things around the property if you can. But we're really finding that is a huge priority right now, because something interesting in the market we're seeing is a lot more sale fails. So where you go pending on your home, a buyer decides they can no longer buy the property. Honestly, a big part of that, we're not gonna honestly get to enough time. I'd love to talk more about headlines and things like that, but I think a lot of buyers are seeing headlines and getting scared, the uncertainty of the market. There's a lot going on, obviously higher interest rates. They're seeing their monthly payment as more, so they're expecting more of you as the seller. There's a lot that can go on. So if you can take care of those little repairs, especially the ones that they'll notice as they're viewing the property, that's going to raise the possibility of offers you're gonna get. And then during the inspection, if you can take care of those smaller repairs, just to make sure that there isn't a giant inspection report or they don't feel like the house wasn't taken care of, it's more likely the buyers are gonna feel comfortable buying your home and want to continue forward. And not to scare you on the sale fail thing, but it is something we are seeing a little bit more. So if we're talking, one-on-one on selling your house, there are certain projects I'm gonna suggest you do, and that's why you hire a realtor and go through the process with us, because we see it daily and know how to take care of it with ease, simplicity, and just know what's gonna work. So if you're thinking of selling, I will note also, this is a good thing to bring up if you're a home buyer, is average sales price has gone up continually, and now we are at $615. So, we stayed under in the fives for a long time here, but we are going up to $615, which is a great, if you are a home seller. If you are a home buyer, it's probably not the best thing to hear, especially when you think about there also being rising interest rates. But it's just the reality, and we do presume we are going to continue to see prices steadily rise, even with the thoughts of a recession coming in the future, because especially a market like we have in Portland, Oregon, while we could see some correction in the market and maybe some slight changes in price, most likely it's going to stably increase. Even most economists say this, especially in a market like this where we have just such high demand and such high migration from other even more expensive cities. So if you are a home buyer, while this isn't the best of news, I will say that, time is of the essence, because we don't expect interest rates to go down much anytime soon, and we're going to see those prices stably increase. So if you can swing it, buying sooner than later is going to be good. And if you are a potential home seller, just know that while you're not going to get a million offers on your house, you will still see your price continue to rise. You're just going to make sure that you do things like we talked about with prepping your home, and then also pricing your home strategically. Lastly, I will just touch on again really quickly, just make sure as you're reading things in the news, as you're scouring social media, if you see a lot of sensationalized stuff about real estate and what's happening, because I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the economic market in general. Obviously, we're not economists. Obviously, we're not fortune tellers, so we can't tell you what's going to happen in the future. But I will say, if you're feeling really stressed, about the fact that you bought recently and you're not sure what's happening in the market, or you're thinking about selling, but you're not sure what's going to happen in 6 months. Again, we can't tell you what's going to happen, but we can go over the data with you, especially specific data about the area you're selling or buying in, and help you make those informed decisions. So understand that things look a little scary right now, but honestly, we don't expect things to be that dramatic. There's a ton of other stuff that I'm probably going to turn this off and do another video on here in a second that really factors into our market not seeing a major shift. So just wanted to put that last point. This is like the longest video I've ever done, so I'm going to stop it here. And hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. Always happy to talk with you. I will have my contact information below, or feel free to reach out on whatever platform you're watching this on. All right, thank you so much. Hope this is helpful. Bye.